And we are rolling. Okay, guys. So, my name is Movie Mike. I decided I want to start a podcast and I want to discuss topics that have to do with the healing journey. I want to come up with a name just for the sake of getting this first episode done. We'll give it a name. Let's go with From Broken to Built. And we're going to rock with that name for now. From Broken till Built. And in this podcast, I want to talk about the healing journey and what it is we go through along the process and actualizations that we have within our mind that unlock, our true potential. And through this, I hope to reach others that are going through similar situations and trying to heal from traumatic experiences. I know that healing is not an overnight process, and oftentimes it could really be triggering, and it could cause you to have an emotional overfill, and things just are really uncertain sometimes. Grief hits you out of nowhere. I don't know if you have any loved ones that have died, but grief is never ending. It just kind of hits you out of nowhere. You hear a song that reminds you of that person, or you just you recollect the memory, and all of a sudden you got tears rolling down your cheeks, and you're just trying to hold space for that person in your mind still, because no person deserves to be forgotten about. But yeah, let me just hit this real quick and we'll start this podcast. So, just to give you a little background about myself, I'm a 37-year-old filmmaker, photographer. I'm an artist. I am a left brain creative. I am also empathetic. And I do have the tendency to be selfish sometimes. I am working on dissolving my ego. I've had a couple of ego deaths within the last month, and I am deeply humbled right now. I'm living with my mom in a bedroom in the back of a trailer, and it's very humbling to be there. I long for the days when I had independence, and I also am craving a space of my own. I want to have my own place. I want to be able to decorate it and put a vibe in there that matches my personality. And I don't want to be kicked out of any place ever again. I really want to own something. And that's where I'm at right now. So I went through a rough breakup with my ex, who's the mother of my children. I realized that I was very unhappy in that situation, and it took the help of somebody very special to me to wake me up and realize that I was deeply depressed in this relationship, and I was losing myself trying to stay afloat. And a lot of people don't know how to get out of a situation like that. Me, it was just, I went through some processing. I thought about it. I realized that her and I were never compatible to begin with. I just really wanted to love somebody and be loved. I don't even think I knew how to love correct. Maybe not even know what love was back then. But one thing is for certain, I do know what love is now, because this special person taught me that. This new person. And, I'm not going to mention names, but this person holds the key to my heart. And when it comes to this healing journey, this person is responsible for a majority of my healing right now. And things are rocky right now between her and I. And I understand that I'm a very intense person to be around sometimes, with my personality and my constant never-ending truth-seeking and just wanting to be accepted and loved. I do have a fear of abandonment, and that's something I'm trying to work through this childhood healing, because a lot of things do stem from childhood. A lot of traumas that we carry as adults come from when we needed love the most as a child. And it's really sad to think that there's a lot of broken adults walking around that didn't need to be that way had they just gotten the love and support that they needed at such a pinnacle age. But here we are now. We're adults. We're learning to own our scars, and we're moving forward with intentions. We're not going to let the past hold us back anymore. That's for sure. What now? What we need to do right now is focus on healing, developing a relationship with God, and trying to become the best damn version that I could possibly be. I know in my heart what I bring to the table in a relationship. I know that I love very deeply now. I could see that. I know that I'm a giver, and my love language is oftentimes shown through that. Services, touch, giving people things and loving very deeply. I could get very intense, especially when it comes to being heard. If I don't feel like I'm being heard, then I will articulate my statement so that I feel heard. And sometimes that crosses boundaries. That makes people feel like, I'm trying to look down on them. But honestly, we all want to be heard in this life. We all want to be understood. We all have basic needs that need to be met, whether it's through ourselves or loved ones, or even if it's like a guardian, a parent or something. We all have needs. We all have emotional needs, and we all have security needs. And when those aren't being met, of course, it's going to lead to fear and insecurity and possibly a downfall. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. This is the fall of Movie Mike. I already fell. This is the rebirth of Movie Mike. This is Mike's healing journey, and we're going to figure out some shit along the way. We're definitely not going to remain stuck in the same patterns that we've proven, are just not serving us. So, from Broken the Built podcast, I hope to have some people on that are also on a healing journey. Maybe they could share some tips, some tricks about how to tap in to that accelerated healing, how to really look yourself in the mirror and love yourself so deeply and accept who you are and know that you are worthy and you are worth it no matter what other people think of you. As long as you continue to show up, do good, live your best life, live with God in your heart, and perform this life as if He is always watching over you. That's integrity. If you have integrity, there's no reason why you can't get into heaven. Especially if you behave as if somebody is always watching. And I do behave as if somebody's always watching, not only because of God, but because I feel like every little bit of my life, my privacy has been invaded. There's cameras everywhere. There's microphones everywhere. Fuck, I got a microphone on me right now. But the thing is our privacy is slowly being taken away, and there's nothing we could do about it. We signed it away. It's gone. So now you do have to behave as if somebody's watching you at all times, because they are. They're always there. They're in your TV, they're in your phone, they're in your Alexa, they're in your car, they're in your Xbox, they're in your watch. Hell, they're probably in your fucking hearing aid. They might even be in your butt plug. Who knows? I know they're everywhere and they're listening. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have nothing to hide. That's why I'm not worried about it. But I would love some privacy. And I do long for the days when we didn't have all this abundance of technology and things were just more simple. We had less options. And when it came to instant gratification, it was non-existent because you had to wait. If you wanted something like a CD, you had to wait until you had money for it. You didn't just download it. You had to fucking put in the time and effort and earn it. And then when it became a prized possession and you had it in your hand, You felt the satisfaction of all that hard work that you did. All of them fucking garbages that you took out that day, the dishes that you washed, all the fucking cat turds that you picked out of that litter box, that shit was worth it to you. You got that fucking Britney Spears CD. Good job. We all need little things to celebrate in this life, you know? And hold on. Let me just take a minute. Yeah, we didn't have instant gratification, and times were simpler. Everything was higher quality. Video games, for instance, the characters were they were just the best characters I have ever worked with. Nowadays, the characters, they do have a backstory. There is some really cool features about these characters, but they lack depth, I feel. And when you can't relate to a character in a video game or a movie or even a song, then you're never going to connect with it. And that's the problem I have nowadays. I can no longer connect with entertainment. I don't play video games anymore. I rarely watch movies and TV. I do have a problem with being on my phone too much. I have a little addiction to Facebook and social media. I don't really use it in a malicious way. I just really enjoy seeing what's going on in people's lives. I believe we are all nosy to some capacity, and we want to know what's going on with our friends. No, I don't think that my friends have a better life than I do. I am completely secure within my life. I know that my life has room to grow, and it can only go up from here. But this life is a beautiful one to me, and I am so deeply thankful that I have been given this opportunity to walk this earth and to touch as many lives as I've been able to touch. And also all the lessons that I've been able to learn while walking this beautiful plane. I continue to learn every day. Sometimes you're going to learn this on your healing journey. Sometimes people come into your life to teach you a lesson. And it's a lesson that you need to learn because nobody ever taught you it, or you didn't experience it on your own. And sometimes that could even happen in your love life. Some people might show up to show you how to love, or show you how to heal, or just show you that you're enough. Some people might just come into your life to remind you that you can let go of what you're holding on to. Okay? So let's say you have childhood trauma and that's deeply bottled up inside you. You could forgive that, and you can begin to heal that by acknowledging the things that went wrong and how you were hurt and how these things affect you as an adult. Especially if you write about them, you could forgive a lot of these things and begin to heal those parts of your inner child that desperately needed love back then. We all need love. We all have simple things in this life that really help us get through the day, get through this life. We just need the most basic necessities. And when those things aren't being provided, it could create a lot of insecurities in you. And it might even make you begin to question your own reality. Like, am I enough in this situation? Am I a monster here? Am I really this hard to deal with? These are things that I learned about myself by not being healed. And by continuing to repeat patterns and witness myself, observe myself, I realize that I do have a lot of work that I need to do on myself. There's things that come out of me that need to be healed. And for one, I already said this, I'm intense. when I'm looking for an answer or if I'm looking for a truth, it gets intense. I'm not going to lie. I need to relax. I need to just let things unfold as they will and try not to control outcomes. I've been trying to control outcomes for a very long time. And that's another thing we're going to keep learning. Stems from a broken childhood. Having lack of control as a child makes you want to control things more as an adult. You're seeking things that you went without. It doesn't mean it's right. Nobody should want to control anybody. We all have the autonomy to make our own decisions and make our own mistakes. Nobody should be there trying to correct the steering wheel unless it's asked for. If somebody wants your help, they will seek you out. You don't have to force knowledge. You don't have to force agendas. You don't even have to talk to people about what you're going through. You can really just own it. And you can learn to move on from it. Feelings come and go. They're fleeting. When it comes to feelings, you just have to observe them, figure out which feeling you're feeling in that moment, and try to release it after you've acknowledged it. And that's what I've been trying to do lately. When I get hit with all these feelings, I'll just be sitting there and I'll just start crying. And I know that that's me healing right there. I know that there's part of me that is still broken, and crying is so good for you. It helps release all that stress. I almost wonder if when it rains and the sky is crying, if the earth feels some sort of relief afterwards. It's got to feel really good to let loose of all of that, rain. And maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe rain is just rain and the universe doesn't get sad. But if we could use that to just support this for a little bit, sometimes you got to release some rain in order to get to the sunshine again. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a process. It's a cycle that continues to go on throughout life. We have the birth and we have the death every single year of the earth. And we have the birth and the death of humans and animals and plants. Everything within this earth. It's all meant to come and go. Nothing is permanent. The only thing that's permanent is God. And what God wants to do with us, God shall do. If he wants to punish us for all the bad deeds and all the sins we've committed in humanity, you best believe he's going to punish us. Now, maybe he's not going to flood the earth like he's done in the past, but maybe more natural disasters will occur, such as earthquakes, maybe tornadoes, more tornadoes, maybe just fires that wipe out towns. There's always going to be some way for the balance to take over. Let me rephrase that. The balance of life will always be maintained by God. When it becomes too much, you got to restart it. Like when my life became too much, God took everything away. And he gave me the opportunity to restart and walk this path with him. Now this path is filled with uncertainty and loneliness because you're not actually having a full conversation with God. You're putting intentions out there and hoping that he hears you, and he does hear you. And you don't know when you're going to see results. You don't know when the change is going to come. All you do is you put your intentions out there and you hope for the best. And with faith and continued prayer, you could absolutely manifest your highest dreams. I'm not trying to sound corny. I'm just saying God goes to work for you. And if you don't believe that, just take a look at my life. No, let's not talk about me. Take a look at anybody's life who has God in it. They don't suffer for very long. Yes, there is an initial rebirth where they have to go through the fire to prove themselves. But after that, you take all the lessons that you learned in life and you begin to apply them to what's going on in your current situation. So with my relationship, all the times that I've messed up, none of that's in vain. I'm learning myself more. I'm learning how to love better. And I'm learning what women need from men. Because I'll be honest with you, nobody taught me how to do this. I was not taught to hold doors open for women. I was not taught to pay for gas. I wasn't taught to do any of that stuff. I learned it. And I learned it by watching. And you can learn a lot by watching. Just observe your surroundings. Also, self-awareness is key. When you become self-aware, it's not dangerous, but you can't go back from that. Maybe you could if you just give up on self-awareness and you just let your old behaviors take, new form. But if you try every single day to show up for your mind and become aware of your behavior and the things that you do, there's just no way that you won't succeed. Let me just hit this one more time. Yeah, I like that. From Broken to Built. We might just rock with that title. Keep that around for a while because, we definitely are broken, but we're on a path to rebuild ourselves. Not to keep talking about myself, but I am the only one on this podcast right now. So I'm going to keep talking about myself. I want to have a transformative journey. I want to really understand who I am at my core. And I want to tap into my highest potential. I want to have the body I dream of, the mind that I deserve, and the spiritual properties that allow me to have the best relationship with God. This healing journey is going to be filled with so many tests. And I've already been tested so much along the way since I jumped off that cliff 6 months ago. I got into a relationship with a beautiful woman who's also beautifully broken just like me. And she has an amazing relationship with God. She has a conviction in her heart to wait until marriage for, her loved one. And I think that is so beautiful. I respect it so much. I know temptation is very hard to overcome and you will be tested, but waiting it out is going to be so worth it because the love and the trust in the relationship foundation that it's going to build for you and your loved one is going to solidify your relationship for decades to come. And as long as you show up for that person every day, you communicate your deepest fears, your wants, your needs, your feelings, things that they're not doing for you. I know that covers needs. You're doing all this stuff. You're going to have a beautiful marriage. You're going to have a beautiful relationship. It doesn't even have to be a marriage. It could just be a friendship. If you're just communicating at the highest potential, not holding back, keeping it 100% real and authentic with people, you're not going to fail. Because you're going to have a deep understanding of each other. And you're going to know what each other's triggers are. And you're going to know how to navigate life once those triggers happen. I'm learning so much along the way. I didn't even know that people needed space. But I've been taking space for myself deliberately and unconsciously for years. When I become drained, I like to sit in silence. I like to reflect, and I like to recharge by just being inside my head. Sometimes I'm on my phone and I'm just scrolling. I think everybody does that. But most of the time, I like reflecting. I like seeing where things could have been better. And as long as you keep doing that and you practice self-awareness, your relationships will flourish. But the biggest thing is healing. You got to heal the emotional trauma. All the baggage that you bring to a relationship that slows you guys down, you got to heal it. I wasn't healed. I got into a relationship. I moved right in because I was on the verge of being homeless. She took me in, and I'm thankful for that. I should not have lived with her. I should have immediately went and lived with my mom. That was step one right there of the fall of our relationship. We got to see what it's like to live with each other, and it was amazing. But when it got dark, it really got dark. And there was some tough times. And even though I went through those tough times, I never lost love for this person. And I never will lose love for them. Even if they're gone for good, this person's going to be in my heart forever. She deeply changed everything about my heart. My heart was calcified and I could not love for the longest time. And when I met this woman, it's like the stone just turned to like dust and it just blew away off my heart. And my heart started beating again. And suddenly, for the first time in forever, I felt vulnerability. I felt feelings and compassion for people. I started to feel things that I've never felt in my life. Maybe I did when I was younger, but my heart became calcified because of all the stuff I was going through. Listen, you could definitely ruin yourself by carrying around guilt and shame. One thing I needed to realize was you don't need to carry that around. As soon as you did that, as soon as I left my wife and I did all that stuff to destroy the relationship, God forgave me. And if God can forgive me, that's really all that matters. I don't need to be forgiven by everybody else that I've wronged. I know I could ask for forgiveness, but not everybody's going to give it out. Some scars just run too deep. And when you've really hurt somebody, you can't take that back. I read something the other day. You could heal from, violence, but you cannot heal from words. And that is why it's so important to be careful about the words we use with people. Because words can be weapons. Words can also be spells. And when they're misused, they could ruin people. They could hurt people. They could even make people want to kill themselves. Just touching on like the bullies of this world. Words are weapons. Words could also be healing. Words of affirmation. When you continuously say affirmations in words that uplift you and have powerful, positive meaning behind them, you are rewiring your brain to think better, to be more positive, to have less insecurity. When you also show up for yourself continuously, like by saying you're going to do something and you do it, That builds confidence over time, believe it or not. By continuing to show up for other people, just being a man of your word, that builds confidence. And I recognize that I haven't always been a man of my word. I have good intentions, and I try to follow through, but sometimes things are just out of our control. And that's why it is important that we don't put expectations on things. It's important to not control outcomes. It's all about surrendering to the flow of life and allowing things to unfold as they will. And when you allow that to happen, the most beautiful things happen for you. But it's so hard to get over the ego. It's so hard to get over the hurt. It's so hard to just get past ourselves sometimes, to let go and to trust God and His mission. I have a hard time letting go myself. I realized that I was attached to this person in a really unhealthy way. Like, I thought that I needed this person so much that I couldn't live without them. And when she broke up with me the first time, it was earth-shattering. My heart was literally out of my chest, and I was screaming and crying in the van at work. And I realize that's an unhealthy attachment. Thinking that that person is your sole source for happiness and love. When really, you could just love yourself, you could love God, and you could just accept who you are. And who you are is a beautiful person deep down. When you understand what makes you who you are, all the life experiences, everything you've ever been through, there's no possible way that there's anybody else like you out there, because we all walk a unique path. And these paths, they don't define us, but they help us find ourselves. And a lot of times, it's just life experience. Once you've had enough life experience, and I also do believe that age has to do with wisdom. Once you reach a certain age and you unlock that wisdom for that age, you begin to see the world a little bit more clear. And maybe if you're talking to people who haven't unlocked that wisdom and aren't on the same path, there could be some kind of communication barrier that makes it hard to get your point across. Maybe you're not understood. But either way, communication is key in all aspects of life. I've spent my whole life working on communication, trying to master it. For the longest time, I was shy. I didn't say anything. I used to keep everything in. I never used to speak up about anything. I've become vocal about myself now. I stand up for myself. And I don't demand respect, but I command respect. Because I give respect. I give respect to everybody. Even the most special people who can't do anything for themselves. Those are the people I work with. I look them right in the eye and I give them my love and attention and my respect. Because that's one thing that you could always give somebody, no matter how depleted you feel. You could always show up and give somebody your respect. Unless they lose your respect. Once they lose your respect, well, depending on how much pride and ego you have, you may never get it back. This podcast is going to be healing for me. Just being able to empty out my brain and articulate my thoughts. I can't always talk to people. Sometimes I realize that I need to just sit with my own thoughts sometimes and reflect and just have these aha moments after reflection. And when you have these aha moments, you could begin to change little aspects of your life, your behavior. We're not locked into the same character that we've always been. We're allowed to develop our character. We're allowed to evolve emotionally. We're allowed to learn new things and develop different patterns and behaviors to become a better version of ourselves. We're never locked into the same person that these people think you are. And when you show up for yourself, you keep going through those changes. You keep loving yourself. You give yourself all that self-care. You take that shower. You clip your fucking nails. You trim your damn pubes. You take care of yourself. You hit that gym. You don't eat fucking processed food, put toxic garbage in your body. You start filling your body up with richness. Things that are going to give you energy. It's going to give you life. It's going to help your brain. It's going to help your nervous system. You got to start taking care of yourself. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to myself. There was once upon a time when I was unhappy in my marriage where I didn't used to shower for like a week straight. Yeah, I would wash my balls and I'd wash my ass, but I did not shower because I just couldn't do it. And when you're going through mental health struggles, sometimes the littlest tasks become the biggest ones. Just getting out of bed. Just like going to work. Like going to work can sometimes feel like it's the biggest, most regretful task in the world. Especially if you don't love what you do. I do love what I do in the aspect that I love taking care of people with special needs. But there's a lot of deep flaws with the job that I have. And I'm finding out that tomorrow I might be getting fired from this job. So if this podcast comes out and I already got fired from this job, I'll let you guys know what happened. I'm going to own my mistakes from here on out. I'm going to own everything in my life. And when the time is right, I'm going to own a house. And I'm going to have a beautiful, rich, fulfilled life with God. My kids, I'm sorry I haven't talked about my kids, and they are the world to me. My kids don't deserve this version of me who's broken. Your kids don't deserve that version of you that's broken. It is up to you, nobody else, to begin that healing journey. And if you're stuck in a situation where you can't begin to heal, maybe you need to remove yourself from that relationship. Maybe in order to heal, you need to be single for a while. You need to sit in your thoughts and really reflect on what you want to change about yourself. And yeah, we might not be able to change everything about ourselves because sometimes people have behavior personalities like such as narcissism or a schizophrenia situation where you can't really control that. But you could treat it with medication, and you could also become self-aware. And the more self-aware you become, the less these things have a grip on you. I do believe that I have narcissistic tendencies. I don't believe that I'm a narcissist. I believe I'm a healed narcissist. People will tell you that that is wrong and that is impossible. But I am factual, living proof that with self-awareness, in developing your emotional intelligence, in showing up for yourself, and being held accountable while observing your behavior, how you treat others, you could change. And I did change. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm changed. Life is good, guys. Life has its ups and downs. A bad day does not define you. A bad day just sometimes reminds you that you have work to do. And a bad day could also remind you who's in your corner. Because if somebody shows up for you when you're having a bad day, that might mean the world to them. You might prevent that person from taking their life just for saying that little thing that you said to them. Like, hey, chin up. Hey, it gets better. You doing all right? Just these little things that help people. Just being acknowledged and understanding that we don't all have it figured out. This life is chaotic sometimes, and sometimes it's balanced, and sometimes it's just completely blissful. But one thing's for certain is it's unpredictable. We just need to continue to flow. Flow through life. I spend a lot of time watching water. And I know Bruce Lee probably did the same because he has that flow through life mentality. But when you really watch the river current, when you watch a creek, when you watch any moving body of water, you will see that nothing gets in its way unless it's being blocked by humans. Okay, if you literally put a dam up, yes, you're going to block water from flowing. But if you put a rock in that water, the water is going to rise above that rock and it's going to go right over it. If a tree falls from the forest and it lands in that water, the water is going to flow right around it. And one of the things I observed when I was watching water is water holds its shape no matter what. Based on the texture and all the objects that are underneath the water, it holds its shape. And that's beautiful to me. If we could hold our shape, no matter what we're going through, and continue to flow, we will continue to grow. And growth is really where it's at. You do not want to stay stuck. You don't want to completely erase yourself to feel loved, but what you do want to do is let somebody know that you are moldable and you are coachable. And along this journey, you are going to learn some new things about yourself, and you're going to learn how to treat others. You're going to learn how you want to be treated. You're going to learn boundaries. You're going to learn attachment types. You're going to learn how to show up for somebody without being too much to them. Okay? You're going to learn what independence really is at its core. You're going to learn so much about yourself, and you're going to fall in love with yourself again. And you shouldn't put too much love in yourself. You should definitely put God first, but you should definitely love yourself. Because this is your life. This is your story. You are the main character of this journey. And what you do in this life matters. How you show up for people, the way you treat others, how they remember you when you're not in the room, it all matters. I know I haven't been the most, God-fearing man. I haven't always been a gentleman. I've hurt people. I've ruined relationships. But I've never gave up on trying. Becoming self-aware. Learning how to fix these things so that it doesn't happen again. What does healing look like? What does a healed person look like? When you're healed, does that mean you don't get into fights with your significant other anymore? Do you just have a perfect life from there on out? Or does healed just mean that you're not going to succumb to the triggers that once consumed you? Maybe it just means you can navigate your triggers a little better. And maybe it means that you forgive all the bad things that happened to you in the past so that you don't carry these things with you anymore. We are all carrying tons and tons of guilt and shame and things that just people have placed on us that make us feel like we're not enough in this life. And it's not fair because we are enough. Everybody's enough for God. could be enough for yourself. You don't have to worry about if you're enough for somebody else. If you truly love yourself, if you're confident, if you continue to show up and have integrity, you're going to have an unshakable relationship with yourself. And nobody's going to be able to make you feel insecure. And that's really what I want right now. I want to feel so secure in myself that no matter what happens, my steadiness will never be shaken. You know, I will always be rock solid. I want to strengthen my mind through exercise. And also, I want to speak to mentors. I want to start going to church more. I don't need church because I have a relationship with God. But what I need is a room full of people with good hearts and good intentions. And I want to share that energy with people. Sorry. Let me just get some water. So yeah, like, you're not going to know when you're healed, but you will know that you are healing when things begin to happen. When relationships that no longer serve you diminish. When you start crying out of nowhere to a song you haven't heard in 10 years. When every little thing reminds you of this person. Maybe not that. That was just me throwing that in there. Because I think I have a lot on my mind tonight. And everything does remind me of this person. And I'm trying to work past that. And I'm trying to grow and stand in my own confidence right now. It's just my world has been fucked up. Just to give you a little perspective. I left my wife 6 months ago. I had an amazing relationship with this woman. We weren't healed, so we weren't right for each other in the moment. We call it wrong timing. The timing was off, and I didn't realize it at the time because I was so head over heels in love and also fixated on her in an obsessed kind of way. And I realized that a lot of guys are obsessed because of their attachment to this person. And if they could learn how to detach and still hold space for that person in love, it's way more healthier. Way better for the relationship. But yeah, over the last 6 months, a lot of things have happened in my life. You know, my older sister died of cancer. It still doesn't feel real to me. Like, I was just working with my sister not too long ago trying to get her music off the ground and, you know, get her album done and some music videos and photo shoots. And we were going to open mics, and it just seemed like this could last for a really long time. And then her health it just started to decline, and she developed a tumor in her stomach, and it metastasized, and it spread throughout her body. And she has a mutated gene that causes that to happen, and that runs in my family. And I haven't been to the doctors yet to be tested for that. I've been putting it off for years. I know I just need to go do it. But there is no but about it. I just need to go do it. Because my sister would want that to happen. She would want me to go get it done. She tried warning me. But yeah, my sister, I feel really bad about that. It just felt like she had a chance. And my sister literally walked through hell her whole entire life. We were taken from our mom at a very young age, and we were put into foster care, and we were put up for adoption, and you could say we were orphans for a while. And my sisters were just abused in the foster home that they were in, and they didn't offer safety and security. They were just emotional and physical abuse, and I don't even think they knew what was going on until, like, they spoke up about it. And, you know, thankfully, I don't remember who spoke up, but one of them spoke up, one of my sisters, and they were placed in a different foster home, and I believe the foster license was revoked from that foster family. But yes, just thinking about how much my sister had to go through in this life and how she just didn't get to see like the most beautiful things in this world. Like, I don't even know if she like went on vacations and shit. I don't know. It's just not fair. But I know that, if heaven's real, and I believe it's real, then she's living her best life right now. And she's looking down on me. And I'm sorry, sis. I don't know what happened. You said you were avoiding me. And I don't know what I did. But I'm sorry if I pissed you off. I wanted to be there for you every step of the way. I was also fighting for my relationship. And I was just going through so much shit. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't a good brother to you. I just love you so much. And now that you're gone, nothing's the same. The world is not the same. We lost one of the most beautiful, heart-filled women that I've ever met in my life. And she just touched so many lives. And you're going to see it. You're going to see it soon, how many lives that woman touched. What a beautiful soul that was. I miss her. I really do. And I want to get her music out there. And I want to make sure that she's remembered. And I want to make her proud. So when I get up there, she knows that I was a man of my word. And I said and did things that I intended on doing. I told her I'd get her music out there. And that's still my mission. I'm just fucked up right now. So much shit has happened all at once. And this healing journey, it's going to take a long time. Because it took a long time for me to become this fucked up. Also, a reason why I don't think I want to do video on this podcast is just I'm going to probably spend a lot of time crying and just looking real fucking ugly. So I don't need anybody seeing my ugly face when I'm crying. When it shows up, I want to address it. I want to drop those tears and I want to keep moving. I really appreciate this life. All the lessons I've learned. It's really a beautiful life, and it continues to unfold in such a beautiful way. Now that I know God is always there, and He has always guided me, whether or not I acknowledged Him or not, I know now that I could walk this earth with peace. And I am enough for myself. I am enough for others. I am smart. I am funny as a motherfucker. So smart. So wise beyond years. I have the biggest fucking heart in the world. Maybe not bigger than my sisters. Both of my sisters. But I have a huge fucking heart. Sometimes this heart is just taking some beatings and it makes me want to give up sometimes. But I'm reminded by things that I need to do in this lifetime. And also the people that I brought into this life. I need to show up for them. And if I ever checked out, that would be the most selfish, cowardly way to go. And leave my kids behind to fend for themselves. No, fuck that. I'm not going to let my kids struggle. I'm not going to give them the world, but I'm certainly going to show up for them. They're going to feel my presence. And they're going to know that their dad was rock solid. And he would do anything for them. Just like that woman. I would do anything for her. I will move mountains on my fucking shoulders. Sometimes love is not enough. Women really need other things other than love. No matter how much you think you love somebody, it might not be enough. Because women need more than just love. They need to feel like they're enough. They need to feel a sense of security, like that their man can handle shit. And I'm not just talking about like violence. I'm talking about like the bills, big decisions. You know, when the weight is heavy on their shoulders, you could take some of that off by making some decisions for them. It's called leading. Women want you to lead. Women don't want little boys. I'll tell you what, in my last relationship, my marriage, I was a little fucking boy. I dare somebody to admit that. Admit you were a little fucking boy. Admit that you were not emotionally intelligent. Admit that you were very selfish. Admit that you fucked that person up because you were not healed. Admit that you cheated on that person and you broke that person and they lost respect for you. And that's ultimately where the relationship went down the can. I own all my mistakes. I take accountability for my actions. I am no stranger to admitting defeat. One thing I could do is take all this shit that I learned from these last relationships and apply it to my next one. Growth is never ending. When you get on a path, you need to stay on that path. Stick to God. And when God wants you to do something, pay attention to the signs. The signs are everywhere. We're just so consumed by our own false reality, social media, our the things that we're chasing in life. God is always there. He's always speaking to you through the universe. Pay attention. Listen to your gut once in a while. If it tells you something's off, it might be off. Listen to your heart once in a while. If your heart is telling you something's right, then listen to it. Don't run from it. We only have this one life, and we don't have to get it right in this life. You could fuck up your whole entire life, but you're going to learn lessons along the way, and you're never going to be the same. It's what you take from these lessons and how you apply them to your current situation is what's going to define you as a person. Not your past mistakes, not your shame and guilt, not anything that made you feel like you're not enough. You are enough. Let's end this podcast. I really got some shit off my chest tonight. And we're about to come up on an hour. I feel good that I was able to talk for an hour and say some shit that was real. So check it out. This is the From Broken to Built podcast by Movie Mike. Look forward to more episodes in the future. And let me know what you think of this one. I'm signing off. You guys have a good night. Peace.